We're just gonna let it cold, that one.
They're different than the ones in the Philippines, aren't they?
What?
They're different.
Yeah, it's easier.
These are better?
Yeah. So much better.
Yeah, I know. I always watched you guys peel them apart, man.
Yeah.
You don't like chocolate.
Not really. The sweet?
You don't know what you're missing.
We click it.
Blow on it.
Can I try?
Yeah, blow on it.
Do you recall Mr. Moss's criminal trial making arguments that Amy could have been killed by Jerry Fraser because of their affair?
It's like chocolate.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad.
Mm-hmm.
How do you eat it? Cold?
Yeah, it's best cold. You can eat it warm.
Recall your closing argument at the criminal trial?
Does it get hard?
That consistency is about right
No.
when it's cold.
It's like a pudding. Pudding?
Hmm?
It's like a pudding.
It is pudding.
Ah,
This
that's
is chocolate.
pudding?
This is chocolate pudding.
I see. Chocolate pudding. Okay. Alright guys, I'm gonna make my spring roll. Let's go.
Are you looking for a reason to celebrate? During Rutgers Giving Days, you can celebrate with your friends, your family, or your community. All of you making life better in Jersey and beyond. Now that's a reason to celebrate.
So this would be the okay, and then bean sprout spring rolls. This is how you do it. Fold this and then Roll it. And then put water so it would stick. Mm.
Is that all you do? You put those bean sprouts in there?
Yes.
Really? Is that how you guys made them?
Yeah.
I thought you put in a lot more stuff. I don't like it.
Oh yeah, different. You can do bean sprouts, and also there is another recipe. You do the cabbage, carrots,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like that, and you mixed it.
Mm-hmm.
And this one just so easy because it's just only one ingredients, just bean sprout. You eat bean sprout? Do you eat this one?
Mm-hmm.
You might like
I need
it.
to go on Amazon and order your
What?
banana ketchup right now. But there's other things you want, right?
What do you mean? Which other thing I want?
I think it was chilies and other things you said.
Oh,
I just want to order it all at one time.
I'm looking for something like that, that chili, but red or yeah,
Yeah, I remember those.
so I can plant the seeds also.
Yeah.
Oh, I want you to order something in Amazon.
Hmm.
That something, that phone holder that you stick to the windshield to the car.
What about it?
I want you to order me that.
Phone? What?
Phone holder, something that you stick on the somewhere, something.
Yeah, I might already. You might have already have one of those. But yeah.
I'm gonna show it to you. Oh, I'm gonna order my nails today, huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you think Denise do her nails?
Hmm?
Denise?
I don't know if Denise really cares about nails. She probably doesn't. When older women reach a certain age, they don't care about that stuff.
So me, I am getting old. If I will not care about it anymore.
You'll know when the time comes.
When I reach the certain age,
It's not now, but you will.
yeah, I will prioritize my health than my nails.
Well, I think if you were in the workplace, you would want to look good. So, but when you're not working, when you're older, you retire.
And your husband doesn't care?
Yeah.
Hello, everyone. I'm making spring rolls.
Deadly acts of alleged road rage, all
Uh-oh.
on camera.
Police say this mom was killed celebrating her birthday. Her 19-year-old daughter is now in the ICU fighting for her life. And here are the alleged killers. Police say they're a boyfriend-girlfriend duo now in custody after allegedly firing nearly a dozen bullets at the victim's car. All of this stemming from a traffic dispute. We're on the case, presented by Law and Crime.
Road rage. See what I mean?
It's scary.
Road rage is not something to play with. That's why I try not to do that.
A day of celebration and joy quickly turned to fear and tragedy on the roads of Panama City, Florida, all because
Whoa.
the suspect allegedly decided to take out their anger over a traffic dispute with violence. But before we get to those suspects and their background, I want to start and bring attention to the victims in this story. These are people who police say had no previous history with their alleged attackers. This is 48-year-old Georgianne Garner and her 19-year-old daughter, Marley Lewis. On Saturday, February 22nd, police say Georgianne was celebrating her birthday. She was out with friends and family at a local Mardi Gras parade. And as they left that parade, police say they got into some sort of traffic dispute with people in another vehicle at this intersection in Panama City. Police say the people in that other vehicle started verbally harassing those in Georgianne's car. Then, as you see here in a freeze frame from this video that's been circulating on social media, you can see the passenger in the pickup truck pull out a gun, point it out the window, and then open fire. Both Georgianne and her daughter Marley were taken to the hospital.
Oh my
and that is
God.
when Georgianne passed away. According to this GoFundMe page, at the time of this recording, it's raised more than $14,000. It says that Marley is still in critical condition. It's been giving updates on her condition. It reads that she's currently on a ventilator and, quote, fighting for her life. This GoFundMe page also says that Georgianne was a single mom with 2 kids and, quote, her eyes twinkled when she laughed and glittered when she snorted. She was taken from us far too quickly, and her life was ended by ruthless people with road rage whose hearts were full of hate. Let's talk about what played out on the road, because police say that there were bystanders that came in to try and help Georgianne and Marley and the 2 other people who were in their vehicle who were not hit by the gunfire. Then that Dodge pickup truck that the bullets allegedly came from took off. This is what police said about the chase in video posted by WMBB TV. Take a listen.
The officer pursued that vehicle north on Highway 231, eventually landing in the parking lot of the Holiday Inn near the intersection of Highway 231 and Highway 77. The vehicle continued to attempt to flee officers, eventually ramming one of our units.
Eventually, these 2 people were taken into custody. Their names, Juval Simmons and Ivy Bella Encino. Police say Encino was the one behind the wheel, and Simmons was allegedly in the passenger seat and is the one who pulled out the gun and opened fire. Simmons was arrested after he allegedly jumped out of the car and tried to run for himself. We looked into the social media of these 2, and on Facebook it shows that they were in a relationship, posting several pictures together, but now they are in custody and both facing serious charges. They also, ironically perhaps, posted pics together with filters, putting devil horns on their head. Police say these 2 didn't know who was in the car that they allegedly fired upon, just that they were having some sort of traffic dispute, a case of road rage. They had no prior history with these victims. They say that Simmons just pulled out a gun and fired nearly a dozen rounds into the car that had Georgianne and Marley inside. They also had another vehicle that was out on the road. This case, forever changing the lives of the people who were inside that car, taking the life of a mom who was just out celebrating with her family. Police say Simmons is facing charges, including 1 count of murder and 3 counts of attempted murder. Here's his picture in the Bay County Jail where he's being held without bond. His girlfriend, Ivy Bella Encino, also facing serious charges, including accessory to murder. Remember, police say she was the one behind the wheel of the vehicle. Joining us now is Attorney General of experience in civil and criminal litigation based in Florida. I know you have looked into this case as well. I mean, it's just tough video to watch, knowing how a day changes from being one of celebrations to then just the horror that took place. What do you see when you watch that?
That's why it scared me when we had that incident, you know.
Yeah. You know, you've got somebody literally traveling with their daughter on their
That was scary.
People right now are really on the edge. I mean, they don't know, they don't have a job, or they don't know if they're going to have a job.
Mm.
Murders going on at home. And people don't care anymore.
The perfect day, right? And
Especially if they don't have any future.
you just things escalate and escalate and escalate to the point of road rage and a mass, not quite mass shooting, but the shooting of 2 people, 1 fatal. And, unfortunately, doing civil and criminal litigation, we see this all too often. It's happening more and more as people just become so impulsive.
Mm.
It's
Impulsive.
truly tragic.
More and more.
How does the law look when a case is prosecuted like this, where it's not a murder that was calculated or planned? It was an alleged murder that happened because he was upset about some, I'm sure in the grand scheme of everything, minor traffic issue, someone cut somebody off, let's just say, and then spur of the moment decides what he's done to take the life of somebody else. Yeah, in Florida, we've seen it multiple ways. So typically one would think you would get, a non-first degree murder charge because there isn't premeditation as one would expect. But then we have the Jordan Davis case, which I was involved with, 10 years ago, where a jury did say, and a prosecutor and police force, aggressively pursued premeditation based upon, seconds. It doesn't have to be an overnight planning under Florida law. And here, there was a gap between, all the arguing and the shooting. And I think, police and prosecutors certainly could get a grand jury involved and see if they would pursue, first-degree murder here. Yeah, that's fascinating because, part of it was that there was some sort of verbal altercation. You have the traffic incident, verbal altercation, and the shots are fired. How could what is said in that verbal altercation, if they can get details of what was said between the 2 parties, how could that factor into what a prosecution could look like? Yeah, so you're going to be looking at it from the standpoint of self-defense, stand your ground, what fear of self or others were the perpetrators essentially, facing. And again, everything from the reports I've seen is there was no imminent threat to bodily harm. There was no gun. There was nothing in the car that would have provoked fatal self-defense. And so if you don't have fatal self-defense, you have an impulsive shooting based upon circumstances stemming from the operation of motor vehicles, which doesn't warrant force, right? It's not like you have of them trying to run over this person, and so he had to shoot his way out of the problem. This isn't a stand your ground case. I don't see a viable, self-defense, argument here. It's the worst kind of reaction where you're not happy and you take people's lives. It's awful. And the narrative that police have laid out. And I just think of this suspect, the shooter. I want to talk about the driver in a moment, but the alleged shooter, they have this video. He's in the passenger seat, and they say, he's the one who fired the shots. And you watch the video, you zoom in, you can see the handgun being pointed out the window. If you were his defense attorney, what argument do you have now that he's in custody? And you certainly have this video that paints the picture of exactly what he allegedly did. You're going to try to do anything you can. In Jordan Davis's case, which is the one I'm referring to, that we kind of got a novel first-degree murder, case out of it. It was, I thought they were going to shoot back, or I thought he was going to shoot me. And his last words to me were that they were going to run me down. And anytime you shoot a victim and kill a victim, they can't defend themselves. Now, you do have a daughter who's in the hospital and appears that she will recover. But, they're going to throw anything they can against the wall. But I think this was, 10 or 11 shots.
Wow.
Yeah, this is,
That's crazy.
1 and shot 11 is a significant amount of time where, again, you could find a jury that would say, all right, maybe shot 1 wasn't premeditated, but by the time you're unloading a clip, you're there. You're intending to kill. The girlfriend of the alleged shooter. She was apparently behind the wheel. She also fled, and there was a brief police chase. She's charged with accessory to murder. I feel like there are cases where you see the person who might be driving, who is in some ways an accessory to murder, that they get hit with a murder charge as well. What do you make of how she's being charged? What type of punishment could she see for being the person behind the wheel?
Yeah, so people think of accessory in two ways. There's before the fact and after the fact, right? And here, I think there might be both. So there was argument, there was escalation before the shots were fired. So what was her role in that? Did she say shoot their tails, whatever? But we can see accessory after the fact, which is where you have a shooting and you don't, you think of stand your ground, you don't stand your ground. You feel like a coward and try to get away with it. And trying to get away with murder in Florida is often prosecuted up there with murder because you are trying to, help somebody get away with taking somebody else's life. And, the police actually, and I do civil rights work too, exercised extreme restraint because oftentimes when you have a clean felon, who's killed somebody, police can take lives into their hands too. And the fact that they were peacefully detained, it says something for local law enforcement.
How could her punishment compare to her boyfriend's if he's found guilty? He's charged with murder, we assume that's life, but for her being accessory to murder, what type of time could she be looking at?
It really depends on their role and how complicit she was with the directions and participation in either the murder or the getaway. But you're looking at, 20, 30-year sentences all the way up to where they essentially, and again, it depends on whether they're charging this as so in Florida, capital murder, capital rape, first degree murder, first degree sex crimes come through a grand jury. The federal system, pretty much everything comes through a grand jury, but prosecutors and police have a lot more discretion in the states. And so it really depends, is this a first degree or a second degree murder case, as to which
Last one. This is editing.
This Italian method stopped my snoring instantly. My wife couldn't believe it was that easy. The biggest myth about snoring is when people say.
I was really surprised when she said it came back as melanoma. Because what I knew about melanoma at the time was just how deadly it can be. And she had said, we caught it early, it's 100% curable. I really want to do this surgery as soon as possible. And I said, well, can I do it at Christmas? We're going to grandma's house for Christmas. And so the urgency with which she called me also speaks to the deadliness of melanoma.
How do you find the courage to face a deadly diagnosis head on and come out stronger? For Nora O'Donnell, the trusted face of CBS Evening News. Nora O'Donnell finally opens up about her deadly diagnosis. What happened next changed her life forever.